What up, YouTube? And as promised, I'm going to be flushing my brake system today, or servicing the brake fluid. There's going to be another video to follow this one with the brake pad. I do again apologize for the low light. It's my new garage, guys, so I'm in the process of putting things together. I figured, I want to kind of get you guys accustomed to this environment, not the shop that I normally am at. So without further ado, here we go into the service. Before you start this, mental image, you're going to need to remember what that front brake felt like. So get an idea of what your front brake feels like before you start this, because after you're done, you want this lever to feel the same or better. So up here, for you guys that don't know, this is your front brake master cylinder. What I'm doing right now is I'm removing this safety clip. Basically, it's a Phillips screwdriver. This clip holds that cap from backing off. So here, go ahead and open this up. Now, brake fluid, guys, is bad for paint. It'll eat your paint, so don't get it on your paint and anodized parts or anything like that. Another thing is keep any kind of contaminants or debris. If you get dust or dirt around here, keep that off. So go ahead and wipe that if you got that. As you can see, I'm being very careful with that. What I've got here is a Mighty Vac. You can pick these things up at Napa Auto Parts, AutoZone, O'Reilly, or just search it online, Mighty Vac model 4000. Doesn't even have to be this fancy of a kit. Basically what it is a vacuum pump. Suck job, sucks. Couple lines and hoses and fittings, and little odds and ends. So with this setup, nothing really special, guys. Just go ahead and stick it down in there, and this fluid actually looks kind of cloudy. That fluid is right out there. Go ahead and try to get as much of that out as you can. Going to be some in this line, so you don't want to put that on it. Now you can take this rag, make sure it's lint free, and it'll absorb that brake fluid. Just wipe out any leftover residue or anything. That's obviously going to be down in the lines and stuff like that, guys, so I mean it's not too critical, but the more you get out, the better. What I've got here, well, guys, you might have heard in my coolant flush video that Maxima Racing Oils was cool enough to go ahead and just throw me some freebies. So they sent me out some brake fluid. And most of your guys' motorcycle caps will say right on the cap what type of fluid to use. This one says use only .4 brake fluid, obviously from a sealed container. This is .4 high temp synthetic formula. What you want back here is your the specifications of boiling point at a dry 585 degrees. Where you're going to notice that is hard braking and stuff, guys. As you're braking, these rotors start getting hot. That temperature is going to transfer through the pad into the caliper, and this is where your fade's going to start right here. So basically, your clutch lever is just going to, or your brake lever is just going to basically like nothing, and that's where you see guys pumping. So that's good to service this. This is your brakes. We can do a couple things. You can turn this to get it over here. Just want to avoid getting it on any plastics or painted surfaces, and just fill it up. At this point, guys, I'm gonna say it doesn't really matter how full you go, just don't spill it, obviously. This is what we're gonna do now. We're gonna pull that brake fluid down through brake lines down into the calipers and out. Alright, guys, back with the Mighty Vac here. The Reservoir, we're gonna keep an eye on that. What I've got here is a little absorbent pad with these little guys bleeders. So wrench on that. Get the right size wrench, guys. Don't you know, put something that's kind of close, because if you strip this out, it's going to be a nightmare. I do recommend if you got one that's going to be super tight or rusty, use a 6-point wrench or even a socket. I've got, for this particular bike, the 13ZX6R 636, obviously, in all my other videos. It's going to be the same all the way up to the current 15, and I believe even the 16 ZX6R is going to have the same procedure here. So you can put this on here, and basically the way this works is as soon as I break this loose, it's going to open up a, it's not like a valving, but basically it's a set screw, and when you open it, then it's going to allow fluid to travel there. Now the reason I want it like this, guys, is I want a good tight fit here. I don't want pulling air and stuff through there. I want to pull the fluid out of the caliper. So with a nice clean tight feet, go. Of course, it's 18 degrees outside, guys, so everything's cold somewhere, and 2 jackets, obviously. You can see my wrenches on there. You can put the wrench on there that it provides, you know, so you can get the leverage on there. It doesn't have to be like put the line on and then break it. Your choice how you want to do that. You can crack it loose and then, you know, go from there. You can see it wasn't very tight, guys. When you go to put that back on, don't, you know, reef it down because you can damage that. So we'll go ahead and drop everything. See my brake fluid starting to work its way up there. Now, obviously, guys, gravity will push this brake fluid down and through. But what I want to do is I want to pull brake fluid, but I also want to watch my reservoir and make sure that fluid doesn't drop down in there, because you don't want to suck air into it. Now, there's another thing you guys can do if you don't have this stuff, is you just put this line on here, run it down to a little drain bucket, and then just ever so gently you could just squeeze this, and what it'll do is it'll actually push the fluid down and then out. And I can't really tell you guys exactly how much you're going to need to do it, but, you know, just get a little bit out. Maybe suck the reservoir down a few times, because, I mean, you got to travel all those lines and everything. But once that's all flushed out, basically, you move into the next closest caliper. Another thing I wanted to touch on was this little diaphragm. This is what kind of keeps the atmosphere out of your reservoir. Don't be afraid to take them apart and look at them and examine them. If this rubber's all deteriorated and old because it's 100 years old, buy yourself a new one. It looks really weird, like, you know, really, really rubbery. You know, probably something got in there and contaminated the rubber, made it really squishy. This rubber, it looks weird, but it's got like a hard texture to it. So what I do is pop it all up, and basically the reason it does that is as your brake fluid level gets used in your pads wear, this piece comes down and keeps the atmosphere from getting inside your brake fluid. I know they say it's a sealed system, but, you know, when you're getting it hot and stuff in the caliper, stuff still boils it and ruins it. Go ahead and take a rag, and I've already done this, guys, so, but, you know, wipe it all down, get all the little particulates off. You know, you can see the little drops and stuff inside there. Wipe it all out, make sure it's all nice and clean. And then what you're going to want to do is top up your reservoir however you like it. Put it in the middle, put it to the full mark on there, and set this in there ever so gently, and watch that fluid, you know, make sure you're not spilling it out on top of your bike. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick, and you guys can just hang out with me and watch me screw it up, obviously. So we're sitting about just a little bit above the low mark. It's gonna be really rough, so I'm gonna guess this is my upper mark. It's hard to see, guys, but right up here where this line is my upper, it's my lower. My reservoir's tilted, so it's a little bit above full on the back side. And this is where that little suction guy is going to come in handy if I overdid it. Or, what? Turn this guy. And now obviously the bike was level. Make it easier. Set the guy in there. I'm doing nice and slow like that is any air that's in there, pushing it out. Now, don't push down in the center of it, try to purge the air out. You're not going to do yourself, you're just going to make a mess. All right, so we're done with that. Here's the front cap for the master. Go ahead and just sit her on there. All right. I'm sorry for the heavy breathing. It's got a lock washer on there. There you go. That's all you need. That's it. Done. And before you guys obviously go out and ride, roll the bike. So if I was like out in my driveway, roll that bike and then just grab the front. Make sure that this brake works. Of course I'm gonna get a phone call. All right, guys, I'll be back after this phone call and we'll start on the back. So we're gonna do the back system. You can see the reservoir's a lot smaller than the front reservoir, guys. So we'll go ahead and unscrew the cap. Now I've already loosened mine. It was on a bit tight, but. All right, guys, what you can see here is a mason jar used for moonshine. I think Molotov cocktails, maybe? I don't know. Don't do that kind of stuff. Anyway. Don't want to break it. It's glass, obviously. And just to show you guys, don't need the almighty expensive rich man's tools. There. This guy on there like that. You can do it that way or that way. Looks like it's going to be easier to grab this way. Remember, this is why you want a good tight seal. Okay, she's on it. Let's go ahead and just break this real quick. Alright. Let's loose. Get some brake fluid. Maxima Racing Oils. Brake fluid. High performance. This bike is now a race bike because I'm putting racing brake fluid in it. Not really, guys. Just like to be safe. Let's see if we can get this without making a mess. Maybe. Come on. I guess I could stick a rag in there. Seal that guy back up. Important to keep the stuff sealed because if there's any moisture in there, which humidity today is high, so absorbing humidity as we speak. Alright, so remember, master's closed, or this little doodad, the bleeder's closed. Pump it up. 2, 3, and I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to pull and loosen that. You'll see the brake fluid come out, and as I'm holding pressure, okay, holding pressure, don't let it up because it will draw air back in. Close this, that, and then you release your brake lever, and that'll pull the fluid back in from, I'll pump it up, 3. I'll show you this side of it now, guys, and watch my hand. Opening it. Holding. It's a little tight, guys, because the spring's pretty heavy. So, okay, I'm going to close the bleeder. Peace. You see the fluid level drops a little bit, and it'll keep doing that as you go. And you can see it's just going out into this mason jar, guys. That's about as simple as that gets. Alright, guys, so we're all done flushing the back. Doesn't look like much came out, but remember, it's There's quite a bit in there. You can do it as many times as you want until you run out of fluid. Just make sure you have enough to top off your reservoir. In my reservoir, I'm going to go about halfway. Just because I didn't like the way that bleeder or the bladder and everything came out. So I'll show you that bladder. Obviously, I haven't wiped this one loose. Don't be scared, you know, go ahead and push it out there. Finger condom. And you just want to wipe all the little doodads off there, all the fluids, all the residue. Get it nice and clean, just in case there's any crusties or any buildup in there. Caps on, down. This one doesn't have a safety guide, so a little tighter than the front. There you go. And that's how you guys service your brake system. Appreciate you guys watching my videos, your comments, questions, or anything like that. Hopefully this video will send you guys on a straight line on how to service your brake system. Obviously, you're not all going to be riding the 636 Ninja. Some of you guys are going to be on the R6s. Any of your leader bike guys, any of that stuff, cruisers, all that. It's all about the same procedure. The procedure I've performed on my bike today is the same procedure that I would have done on an automobile. Again, guys, I'd like to say thank you for joining me today. A big shout out to Maxima Racing Oils, guys. Check it out. Links in the description below to Maxima Racing Oils website for hooking me up with the free brake fluid, the free t-shirts, the stickers and stuff that you guys see on my bikes. The DRZ doesn't have one yet. We're still working on that guy. Projects, guys, projects. So there's the poor man's way how to do your brake system, even if you have a bike like this. I mean, all you need is a wrench, some brake fluid, a couple rags for the gloves, but if you don't want to, that's fine. Alright guys, have a great day. Ride safe.